there are very few characters that I consider controversial or divisive in the terms of BlazBlue as a whole. I mean, there are some, but those kind of preferences go for very different people when you're regarding a certain character. One of those I see kind of seems really consistent, at least here over in the West, is how controversial / divisive Celica is herself. And I hear a lot of the same kind of arguments and criticisms about her. Going back to when Chronophantasma was a thing, usually people say, oh, well, she's hogging all the spotlight. She's like literally in all 3 routes of the game somehow. She plays a huge role in it, and even the creators made fun of them themselves in like the I think in the in Kagura scenario, one of Kagura's scenarios in the game. And she's a nice girl, and she's a Mary Sue, and you know all that noise. And I personally don't believe that Celica's all these things. People kind of over exaggerate how bad they really think her because they believe she's a Mary Sue who hogged up all the spotlight. It's kind of hard to say the word Mary Sue nowadays because I hear it it's hard for me to say it myself because I hear it so often and so just thrown around all the time that people misuse it nearly all the time. It was like, oh, this like at the same time people be like, oh, this girl has no flaws, she's perfect. Like Celica is not a perfect character. Yeah, I will admit that she does hog the spotlight in Chronophantasma, but the game is literally named after her, Chronophantasma. She's kind of like the main focal point of the story, at least for most of it. I'm gonna get to the points, what points people bring up about Celica and what I think on the matter. So, without further ado, let's get this started. The general consensus and pretty much definition about her Mary Sue is basically a female character. Well, it's not really always female because there's also dudes who do it too. But it's basically a character is pretty much perfect in nearly every way, competent in a lot of things, is admired by everyone, and is very attractive to the point where everyone falls for him. Celica is often called a Mary Sue, and I honestly don't see it. For one thing, Celica is not a very capable fighter. She has to have a robot named Minerva to fight for her because she can't fight herself. And the funny thing is, Mori said she wasn't going to be playable at first, so he found a way around that to make her playable. The point is, she cannot fight on her own, and Celica is clearly a flawed character. She's too nice and trusting to other people. Hell, she even still calls Teremy Mr. Teremy, even knowing how evil he really is on the inside. And Celica has terrible direction, which, it may not be anything major, but that is a flaw. If Celica was a Mary Sue, she would pretty much be, know every direction. Be like, you know what, Robin, I'm just going to take you straight to the final boss and you can kill him. Whatever. But the point is, yeah, Celica is clearly flawed. She is not very competent in a bunch of other areas. I mean, hell, she couldn't even take care of a bunch of kids years ago. And on top of that, like, Celica is clearly flawed, okay? Everybody keeps saying, well, not everyone, I'm sorry, but people usually say, well, she's a Mary Sue, she's perfect, she's involved with the story. There's a bunch of characters getting involved with the BlazBlue story that are not Mary Sues. I mean, honestly, people say the same thing about Noelle, and you know damn well Noelle isn't perfect. She has a lot of problems, a bunch of self-esteem issues, really can't fight on her own to save her skin. Like, honestly, like, it baffles me that people even say that to begin with. Because either they clearly don't know Celica or they only know her on a surface level. And yeah, Celica is part of the plot of Chronophantasma. Yeah, she is important to the plot. And yeah, some people who don't know phase shift means that she came out of nowhere and now she's mega ultra important. And yeah, I can understand why you have a problem with that. That she literally came out of nowhere, even though she was already self-established in the light novels. But I can't blame anyone for thinking that way. But if you actually did a little bit of research, then yeah, she made it in Chronophantasma. She's somewhat important to the plot, but she is not a Mary Sue. Like, I swear I see that so often. And like, not everyone even like if she was a Mary Sue, everyone would like Celica and just be, lose to her. I mean, yeah, she has the power to shut down Caesar, which became a problem for Relius, Terami, and Izanami, but it wasn't such a hindrance to where they couldn't absolutely do anything. Except for Terami, because he got the crap scared out of him when he met her for the first time, and it was freaking hilarious. And he just saw her and was like, oh my god, why the hell would you copy her from the past and bring her into the future? That was more of a moment that was funny to me, because Terami couldn't utilize C30. That pissed him off and scared him. And, because, as your Grimoire reasons, he couldn't really do anything about it. But the point is, yeah, Celica is not really a married. I mean, hell, if she wasn't, she'd be around a lot. Freaking, she wouldn't have, died. And, like, it bothers me people say that. It really does. And it's kind of unfair to her character. It really is. Celica is nice, and nice to a fault. And being nice in the world of BlazBlue is not really a hindrance per se, but it's unheard of. Everyone in BlazBlue usually has their own problems. Even the nicest, even someone as straight as Kagura even has his own problems. Celica really doesn't. She sees the world as a more, being happier, and she tries to be nice. But most of it comes off, she does gather a bunch of people, and it does, it does seem like she's loved by everyone. Hell, even Rachel doesn't act all snarky around her. And that's one thing. If Rachel is nice to you, then you know that you're a nice, not really a nice person per se, but it's more like, damn, dude, it's just ridiculous. It ain't even funny. It's just funny to me. But the point is, I feel like it's unfair to Celica to treat her as if she's this perfect almighty being. Even though she's not. She clearly has her own problems. She clearly, was dying, and she couldn't even turn off her own power to suck up in Caesar until her body eventually broke down and, she died. God damn it. As I said before, also another common criticism is that she takes up most of the plot of the game and doesn't really do anything within those plot points. And you know what? I could kind of agree to that. But at the same time, I think that was the purpose. The story was supposed to be, it's called Chronophantasma. She is a Chronophantasma. I feel like, that's the whole point. It was supposed to be Brown her, because she got characterization in the light novels, but they wanted to find a way to bring her out to the games without having to actually, put all the light novels into the game. I mean, they kind of did Six Heroes side of the story, so yeah, they did that. But the point is, Celica's supposed to be an important character for this game, and I honestly don't know what to tell you about that. Yeah, she was supposed to be an important character to the game. A bunch of people really don't like Celica, really. I mean, I don't get it. I mean, you can hate anyone you want. It doesn't matter to me. But people usually just try to throw some things around that honestly they don't really have any, evidence to back up with it. And while Celica is not my personal favorite ultimate character, I do like her. And I just feel so bad for the crap she's been getting. Usually the nice girls in series are just nice to a fault, who are actually important and can apparently do no wrong, are seen as the bad guy. And they try to over-exaggerate those flaws and turn them evil. For one example, I see I'm trying to come up with an example that a nice girl in the series is just hated just for being nice and shy or whatever. I guess I can use the Hinata example from Naruto, that not that many people like her because she's nice. One of the reasons why. And I just see that as well, shoot, you want everyone to be a raging asshole the entire series? I mean, yeah, Ragnar made it work, but that's Ragnar. That was the whole point of him. He was supposed to be a raging asshole, but showed that he cared on the inside. But it's just not fair for Celica to get treated like this, man. I'm not the kind of, I shouldn't be the freaking person to be saying this. I rip on characters all the time in BlazBlue for pretty much petty ass reasons, just like people who do the same thing to Celica and other characters. I do it all the time. I'm petty as hell. I'm petty as all hell, but it just, Celica, you don't deserve it. Even her screen time on Central Fiction got toned down, and people still I don't like her, I'm glad she died, or something like that. I was god damn. She didn't do nothing. If anything, she actually didn't do anything. I mean, hell, she survived for 80 years, got killed by Terami, came back, and was dying again, but they still need her. I mean, To be fair, freaking Celica is one of those MacGuffins, pretty much like Noelle, but people don't have a problem with Noelle. Noelle is pretty much like Celica, but on a different level. You know, Celica, like, Noelle is mega important, but yet no one rips on her. Everybody's like, oh, I love Noelle. Like, I swear to God, she's like she's like Celica times 2, and yet no one else has a has a problem with that. If you can argue that freaking Noelle has more importance than Celica because she's one of the main protagonists. Which, I mean, I guess that makes sense. I mean, she is one of the main protagonists, as I said before. But, like, people rip on Celica for the same reasons they should rip on Noelle, but, like, a different story. I mean, yeah, but then again, Celica is a MacGuffin. Yeah, she is. She's pretty much supposed to activate the Kushina's linchpin, which was important to the story. And, yeah. I mean, hell, not even made the Nox. Not even made the Nox, you know, so they can fight back. Plus, so Celica wouldn't have to sacrifice herself. And, you know, Coconut tried to do the same thing. And Ragnar and Noelle, it was Ragnar, Noelle, and Kagura. They were like, nah, dude, we're not doing that. I mean, to be fair, I started to think about it more. It's like, wait a minute, you know, they could. I mean, Celica was going to die anyway. But at least they found a solution to it, even though the embryo popped up and kind of messed things up there. Another problem I see for, you know, complaints I see about Celica is about her technical ship tease with Ragnar. And that is also another problem I do not see at all. It is a great dynamic between those two. Nice girl Celica, who terrible direction, gives like hardened badass Ragnar a hard time. And they're just all like, well, why is Celica around to give Ragnar character development? The only reason Ragnar got character development was because of Celica. And you know what? Celica was part of his character development, but I don't see that as her being the only reason, you know, Ragnar got developed. That was unfair. You know, Ragnar was already, you know, he was already like pretty much hard, like more like that hard on the outside, soft on the inside kind of character. He just needed someone to kind of break that. And a bunch of characters do it for series like this. A bunch of characters do that kind of thing. Usually, there's always a time where you have a character that helps another character develop. And there's no problem with that in the least. Celica being a good example, yeah, Celica had been a great example. Who else would have been? I mean, yeah, Ragnar could have did this on his own. That's also a route. But Ragnar needed someone around to actually, you know, kind of break through him and get to the inside. And actually, you know, show that he actually, like, you know, show more that he cares. Because, you know, I mean, who you guys think was going to do it? Noelle? Maybe. But, you know, Ragnar and Noelle don't really get that much together. Jin definitely wasn't going to do anything, and there was no one else that could have done it. But the point is, yeah, I feel like Celica it was a great person to help Ragnar help his development. There's nothing wrong with that. Especially when you get especially when you get badass Ragnar out of it. Shoot, I mean, what you guys want? And like, it's like more of a problem you guys have with Ragnar than Celica, because, I mean, hell, there's nothing wrong with that, really. There's nothing wrong with it. I seen it was fine. It seemed natural. It felt natural. It didn't feel like it just came out of nowhere and was forced. You know, just to magically brought out another girl like halfway through the series, like, oh, well, there you know, be nice, Ragnar, be better, all this. Like, no, it wasn't like that. At least it's gradually went up to that point, especially when they actually bonded in Phase Shift, which I said before, as I said before, they actually put in to show that kind of progression. Then Ragnar went back to the past, then came back and understand what he needed to do. It's not that bad, really. Another thing I see about Celica getting complained about is her ability to nullify all Seether. And that basically correlates to, you know, the whole Terry incident / Hazma incident I told you about before, where, you know, basically he couldn't really do anything towards her. And I honestly, you know, in the back of my head, I can't really, like, honestly, I can't really say that. I can't honestly say I could defend her for that one. I mean, yeah, having someone to bring out that they could pretty much nullify Hazma / Terry's power, I can somewhat understand that. And the fact that that's the very first time, one of the very first few times ever that you see, you know, that you see like Hazma / Terry freak out. But at least this didn't come out of nowhere, right? At least it was foreshadowed way back in Calamity Trigger, where Hazma came in and said, well, I'm gonna kill that old hag. and he was talking about he's talking about the sister. He knew that she could nullify Caesar and, you know, be able to nerf him. So, of course, he went to go kill her. At least it didn't come out of nowhere. And it's like, oh, I got this ability to nullify Caesar, which is specifically, you know, I can just now use to, you know, nerf Hazama. No. Hazama literally came in, you know, Calamity Trigger, and he specifically say he was going to kill the old hag / his sister first, so she wouldn't nerf him. And then that's why that's why Teremy freaked out so goddamn badly when Kokonori revealed that she copied Celica and brought to the future just to specifically screw with Hazama / Teremy. So yeah, this wasn't like something out of freaking nowhere. I mean, it wasn't said back then, but it was set up to be this way. I mean, if this was the case, Hazama and Teremy would have no reason to kill the sister, because, you know, Hazama is like evil, but I don't remember him killing someone out of just no reason. I don't remember Teremy. I don't remember them killing anybody out of reason. They'll torture and kill people, but they haven't done it just for the hell of it. I mean, someone say if Celica didn't have the power notifying ability, he probably wouldn't have killed her. I mean, he probably would have, but like, he wouldn't have a reason to kill her. At least this time, he actually had a reason to kill Celica, and that's why he Teremy freaked out so damn badly when Celica was brought to the future. Like, but yeah, I can understand why people would have a problem with that, but at the same time, it was already set up. So, yeah. And yeah, it's just, I just don't get it. But at least it was set up. At least it was some crap power that came out of nowhere at the last minute. Oh, let's say Jin walked in and he had the power to just pretty much own beings like Teremy. Like you know, like what freaking Jubei had, he's able to see like the spiritual forms. Let's say Jin has something like that. He's just able to like cut Teremy, but he could never cut him because Teremy keeps hopping away. I don't know. I'm getting distracted. I'm just being stupid here. But the point is, yeah, that's not fair, really. At least it was set up. At least it didn't come out of nowhere, okay? And as I said before about screen time, the thing about that, as I said, I talked about this before already in the video, but yeah, I can agree that Celica did eat up a lot of screen time, especially to the new characters that got introduced in this game who were actual, like, going off base Chronophantasma, the characters that were introduced, and not counting Izayoi, because Izayoi doesn't count, she's a Tsubaki anyway, were Azrael, Bullet, and Amane. And yeah, I will agree that Celica not being playable at the time did give her a reason to eat up the screen time that Azrael, Bullet, and Amane could have gotten. And they had to be relegated to Central Fiction. So yeah, I can't agree on that part. She did eat up a lot of screen time. But as I said before, she was important to the story. She was. I don't think her being playable, you know, had to, you know, I don't think her being playable was like, you know, a problem per se. It was more that it's like it's kind of like overnight she became more important than out of nowhere than everyone else that was up to that point. So yeah, I can kind of agree, but you know, despite what I said earlier, I do kind of agree that she did eat up a lot of screen time. I wanted to know if Celica, if she was playable at the time, right? Would she have been wasn't like you know, so problem as a problem, really? And I don't know. It could have been, but it really honestly could have been. I don't know. I feel like if Celica was playable, no one would have much of a problem, although they would still have a problem with, like, with Azrael, Bullet, and Amane not really doing anything. I mean, Azrael always got the short end of the stick. Bullet at least got some resolution to her small side story, and Amane actually did way more than he did in the previous game in Central Fiction. So, but yeah, that's not Central Fiction. It's the Chronophantasma I'm talking about now. So yeah, I understand that. Yeah, she did eat a lot of screen time, but just to call her, like, you know, just to say that about her, not, like, just to say that, you know, yeah, she did a lot of screen time. I will agree on that one. She did seem more important than everyone else that was there, and I will agree to that.